The kid's coming with me.
Oh, it was a nice break from that, and I think it's probably a good palate cleanse before we get to the last two episodes of next Wednesday and then the Friday after Christmas, because I think those episodes, I wouldn't be
They're
surprised.
gonna have some meat on their bones,
I
man.
wouldn't be surprised if that was a two-parter, right? Hello, my name is Mr. CAC, and this is...
Reno!
There you go. You'll get this one of these days.
I'm a little slow.
You'll get this one of these days. And we are a dynamic duo that's known as Rage You Nerds. And by known, I mean by 5 people. So what we're here to do is we're here to rage and react to Mandalorian Chapter 7. The Reckoning. Ugh!
It's a great episode title.
Yes, it was a good episode. Good episode.
It was a great episode.
And then episode 7, we are now back on the A storyline, the main plot. The filler episodes are over, and we are head first, hurtling
Baby Yoda,
towards
Baby Yoda, Baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda, Baby Yoda, Baby Yoda. I mean, yeah, it's what it really is. It's the Baby Yoda arc.
That's exactly what it is.
And first, before we continue, we know its name isn't Yoda. The species isn't Yoda. We get that. But if he looked like a tiny little duck, I would say the baby duck. Because he looks like a Yoda.
It looks like a duck, quacks like a duck.
It's baby.
Probably a duck.
It's Baby Yoda. So in this episode, Reno, what had you the most excited?
So I'm not gonna lie. Whenever the Death Troopers showed up, I almost jumped out of my seat. That was awesome, because you had seen about them in the comics and some of the animated series, but you'd not really seen them until Rogue One. And in Rogue One, really, like, they look awesome, but you really don't get to see much of. I mean, they're black stormtroopers. That's really all you got out of it in Rogue One. But they show up, and I was completely caught off guard. I wasn't ready for that. I was like, nah, that was like the last thing I thought they would bring out. I was expecting, like some Imperial guys or something, but not like in officers' uniforms, not, the Death Troopers. But that was what got me psyched so much to this episode.
Yeah, so we had a lot of, we had 2 like Imperial goodies come out. Well, I guess 3 if you count Moff Gideon in general, and the fact that we're now seeing another Moff that will be probably the most fleshed out on screen Moff that we've interacted with. The rest of them, while Grand Moff Tarkin had his moments, yes, yeah, that's fine. But other than that, all the rest of the governors in the land, we didn't really know a whole lot about. We didn't really see him.
Yeah, he looked like he was wearing Death Trooper armor.
Yeah, so I'm very interested to see, because you have like this civil war that's brewing, not only in the galaxy and like the pieces where the New Republic is trying to take over, but within the infighting of the remnants of the Empire. So
yeah.
They haven't made their way to cohesion to become the end result, which is the First Order yet. So I'm kind of digging that. I hope he's just like this wild and crazy warlord that wasn't a Moff but has become a self-proclaimed Moff. Like, I'm cool with that. I think that'd be fine.
Yeah.
So we had Grief Karga introduce the plot point as you would expect from a first-person shooter version of The Mandalorian. We get our mission debriefing from AI pushing forward the plot via Carl Weathers in tiny holograph form.
I gotta say, I really like his character.
I do too.
I like him in that character. He does a really good job.
I mean, how can you hate him?
You can't, man.
He's Apollo.
He's
He's a champ. He's a champ.
It's
man.
all in the hips.
He's here. You have the bouncing around to locations that we remember. You get an interesting little chain fight. Cara, she's fighting. It was a nice little moment because it continues to build her up to being the badass that she should be for this character.
She's a shock trooper, so I mean.
She is she's the muscle to the Mandalorian, right? And I know they kind of did that moment where they locked up. It felt like a very Goku Vegeta moment. I also thought it was a neat It felt like, I know it wasn't, but in my mind, I'm hoping it was a neat callback to the arm lock that Carl Weathers and Arnold Schwarzenegger have at the start of Predators, where it's like the epic bro handshake. But yeah, I mean, she's intended to be the muscle. She's the big intimidating force of this group, and she's physically taller than the Mandalorian. She's physically bigger than the Mandalorian. And then we go back. We pick up our wonderful Ugnut friend, Quill, who is a true treat and treasure.
He has spoken.
He has spoken. I think my favorite part of this moment, this pickup, him starting a story about what is more important. Is it nature or is it nurture? And that was a conversation about a droid, which I thought was a neat little thing, because the droids haven't ever really been fully fleshed out of like their existence and their place in the overall world. But you see a lot of hate towards them at any point in any of the Star Wars medium. So it was nice to see someone that, took a little bit of a different approach to it, and how, they can be basically a weapon, but that's what your intentions are with them.
Yeah. If you want it to be a weapon, that's what its nature is going to be.
And if you can't tell that this is foreshadowing to another character, like a little green wrinkly man known as Baby Yoda, then you're crazy. Yeah. We get IG-11 back, and I know I cut it out of our last episode, but I want him to be known that I said he would be back.
And he is serving tea.
And he is serving tea. I kind of thought he'd be back because, again, his voice actor is the director of the last episode. But it was a cute little story, seeing like the care and everything. It also kind of raised a lot of questions about, what was Quill doing for the Empire? Because he has a lot of skills. And granted,
if he can reprogram and reteach a droid how to be a droid, like that's not an easy task, right?
Yeah, and granted, like he mentions when he was making a retort to Kara on the ship or I think it was on the ship, where he had 3 lifetimes of your normal human life. Yeah, he has spoken.
He has spoken.
We get the arm wrestling scene. And this is where, because then after the moment where we get a force choke from Baby Yoda, we go back, but it's the imprinting thing here. Yeah. Baby Yoda is going to be a reflection of whoever raises Baby Yoda.
And it's either going to be good side or bad side of the force.
And then it makes you think back to all of the previous 6 episodes. How often has Baby Yoda watched The Mandalorian set something on fire,
kill something,
shoot someone, like he's
beat the hell out of somebody?
He's seen a lot of deaths. You got to start to wonder, like, is this the imprint that the child is picking up? And if this child is picking this up, is the Mandalorian the best person to have the child? It's a dilemma. That's called building a story. like if it was a simple solution and it was just always supposed to be the Mandalorian, then of course, that's a cheesy cop-out way of he's the hero, so plot armor allows him to keep it. But I hope his actions, because, I mean, clearly the child has seen, well, this guy sometimes gets in trouble, and I got to be there to save him. And I know how he would save things is by killing him, because he just literally killed a droid in front of me not but 1 episode ago. So let me force choke this lady.
She's arm wrestling him. That means she dies now. I'm not gonna lie. Like when they get past this point, and they're like on their way to the compound to see the client or whatever, and those dudes are walking behind them like they're fixing to pull one on them, and something bad's about to happen, and then all of a sudden Carl Weathers just goes, no, boom, you guys are dead.
Can we talk about how this was the most obvious trap in all of Obvious Land?
Yeah, like it was obviously a trap. Obviously.
Can we start to criticize that the Mandalorian is really bad at reading situations?
Yeah, he's not very smart, man.
Like, he even says, yeah, it's probably a trap, but we're still going to go ahead and do it. Seems like he's not good at making some of these decisions, so it's really good that he has survival skills that he does have, because he has to kill his way out of a lot of situations.
I don't know how he kills his way out of the situation he's in right now either.
It's going to be interesting. I was completely caught off guard with this moment.
Fire team.
Dude, it scared me.
Trust me. Nothing can go wrong.
Like, that scared me. That's just that right there. All of a sudden, giant, whatever it is, like, ooh.
We have a nice little monologue about the Great Purge. Honestly, the purge that happened, and how Mandalore fought against the expansion, so they got purged. So I thought that was a neat little added piece to this. It also brings up some questions for places like Navarro. Like, is it better for them to be under the rule of someone because they don't have a lot going for them? It's pretty much lawless until,
it's chaos.
A Moff comes in.
Yeah.
So it's easy to see why they're selling that and why that's something people would buy into, because some of these places don't know anything other than chaos. But you can see how side planet A or B would be like, you know what? It doesn't sound too bad. Like, New Republic's just kind of left us out here hanging.
They don't really care about us.
Yeah, like, I don't know. It's politics, man. Politics, but with laser guns. So then all hell breaks loose after we get our first look at Moff Gideon.
Dude, that was an intense 2 minutes too.
We got the Death Troopers. We got a whole crap ton, a whole platoon. There's a whole Stormtrooper platoon, which means that the Mandalorians that we last saw in Episode 3 have to make a return in the beginning stages of Episode 8, right?
Yeah, they have to in order for them to have a fighting chance, I would think.
We get the Outland tie. I love its landing sequence.
I do too. That was cool. Like the whole outward, yeah, that's awesome.
We get a nice little moment here.
You have something I want.
Who's this guy?
I love that. I love that. Because isn't that like
who's this guy?
Isn't that like the most natural, the most realistic response ever?
Biggest question I had was why is he wearing armor? Why is he wearing a stormtrooper armor?
It looks like the old Walmart version of a Darth Vader outfit I bought.
Yeah, it does.
Where it had a couple beep boops, but not all the beep boops.
Yeah.
We get our start to what might be a Butch Cassidy and a Sundance Kid moment where you can't really see the heroes getting out of this other than charging blindly into a hellfire of lasers. Speaking of sad moments.
God.
Do you copy? Quill?
Poor Queel.
So we have Baby Yoda captured by the scouts. We have our two heroes and a Grief Karga trapped in the saloon, and the only thing that we don't have accounted for that we know is still a player in all of this is IG-11. So IG-11 has to come and save the day. He'll get some kind of props from the Mando, and then we'll immediately be killed. So all in all, how did you feel about this episode, Reno?
Man, this is a top 2 or 3 episode for me. I loved this episode because it gave you, it's like you said, we didn't get another non-plot moving episode. This actually moved the plot forward. We're starting to see a picture of what's developing and potentially what's going to happen in the future past this season, and I'm sure all those questions will be answered in the last episode, but it's
great episode, wonderful episode for those of us that like the bigger plot progression moving, especially when there's only 8 episodes. This is a good return to form. It throws a lot of interesting stuff at you. The pacing isn't terrible. You don't really have a lot of downtime. Every kind of act that happens is moving something with a purpose, whether that purpose is gathering up his reinforcements, whether that purpose is talking about some things that might come into play as Baby Yoda matures, or just introducing our big bad that hopefully will carry on for more than just the next episode. Moff Gideon has to be something that kind of stands for a while.
He's got to be the big bad, and he can't he can't be the Darth Maul of the Mandalorian.
He has to see second season.
Yeah.
He could potentially die second season, but he has to see the second season. I don't want that cop-out bullcrap where they kill him off episode 1. He needs to see it. He needs to see it. But all in all, I love the episode. I love The Mandalorian. I am super looking forward to how this season ends, and to see what plot lines they truly leave available for moving things forward. I think something that's going to happen in this next episode that leaves that on a cliffhanger for like this is the reason why you got to tune in next
season
episode is whoever appeared at the end of episode 5
is going to show up
around Fennec Shan's body is going to show up and probably end up with Baby Yoda, and that may be what pushes us into conflict with the remnants of the Hutt family mafia. I am Mr. CAC. This is Reno. We are Rage You Nerds, and if you like this or if you hate this, leave us a comment about what you didn't like about it, and we'll call you out on it if you're wrong, or we'll apologize for being wrong and foolish ourselves. If you like this stuff, please feel free to give us a like down below by hitting that thumbs up. If you really like this, or if you want to show some support for us continuing to do this silly thing that we call reaction videos, subscribe. Hit that little bell or the big red box that says subscribe, and help support us. The more we get from you all, the easier it gets to make these things. So, thanks. I love you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.